Hey folks, Malforian here, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're discussing Dev Diary 133 Wet Nurses for Crusader Kings 3, Wards and Wardens really. This is all part of the content for that DLC that's coming later in the month. It's not too far away now. We're just going to go over this pretty quickly. It's not the biggest Dev Diary they've done, but some interesting stuff in there. But let me know, as always, what you think in the comments down below. We're just going to get straight into it though. We're not going to hang around. So, wet nurse. Historically, a wet nurse was a woman of the court charged with the care of infants in need of breastfeeding, for whatever reason that may be. However, the position evolved over time, and in some circles, the wet nurse became an integral part of the family. She might care for older children and become an influential advisor, or even a second mother to them. Strong bonds were created not only between the wet nurse and the child, but also between the children that were nurtured by the same nurse. Some children were called suckling siblings and were treated on the same level as blood siblings. If you watch any kind of like historical dramas on TV, you've probably seen something along these lines happening in those shows. And yeah, our first screenshot here of search for a wet nurse. So similar to other court positions, you can search for this, similar to knights and things like that. So yeah, you can basically just pay some money and yeah, you get a wet nurse into your court if you can do so. In the game, the wet nurse is represented as a court position. A child ruler, a ruler with children, or one holding children hostage can hire a suitable woman as a wet nurse. That last one sounds rather weird, but we will get to it later in this Dev Diary, and there's some interesting interactions you can pull off with this. So yeah, definitely some interesting gameplay we're going to see come out of this. In return, she will provide illness resistance to children of the court and will inform her employer about significant milestones in the childhood development, like a wee one's first spoken words or the first fallen teeth. And there we go, first teething for Vladislav. And a little thing, you pay 20 gold to the tooth fairy, I would imagine. And you actually, oh wait, do you actually get an artifact? Vladislav's milk tooth? I wonder if it's an artifact or whether it's like a small buff. Maybe you get a buff for like 5 months or something. And there is one there saying you get a buff for 10 opinion for 13 months, being a grateful child. I guess because he's getting the 20 gold. So, you know, that's why. He's happy enough for having that extra money. Who can become a wet nurse, you may ask? Any able woman that has no particular noble roots. In history, these were commoners from the court, widowed mothers, or just those in need of another source of income. And yeah, here we go again. So the wet nurse costs 0.31. I don't know if that's quite high, but I guess the bonuses are okay for getting it. So it increases your court grandeur by plus 10 to plus 20 based on aptitude, reduces chance of children contracting illness, as it mentioned, and then possibility for child development events, and they're going to go into that in a second. And it will cost you 25 prestige to revoke. And then the wet nurse themselves, they get 1 prestige a month. I guess this might help them get better marriages and stuff like that. It's a little bit weird otherwise, but I guess that's why. If there's another reason why we would be giving them prestige, let me know in the comments. But I guess it would help with marriages maybe, because they'd be a higher prestige character, I guess, if they were in the role for long enough. And then here we go on the right-hand side, a good aptitude person here. And they're giving monthly court grandeur change plus 15%. I mean, a pretty nice bonus, but there are a lot of these monthly court grandeur change rolls, so I don't know whether there's so many of them in the end where it's not really going to take effect if you're pretty static in your court grandeur level, but a little extra always helps, so not too bad. And then, yeah, as we can see here on the tooltip, if you are good, as it says above, the 15%, the other bonuses, and then she's good because she's in excellent health and has a child herself, so I suppose you could look for certain people. You could even plan ahead, I suppose. Look for healthy people, maybe marry them to someone in your court, say they'd have a child, and then you could put them as your wet nurse. I'm sure you'd have a few of these laying around anyway. And then the next part of this is Rites of Passage. As part of our focus on children in this event pack, we paid some attention to the moment they become adults. Changing your societal status in such a way is a big deal even today, as seen in school graduation, specific birthdays, and religious thresholds. Usually this transition is signified by a ceremony or a ritual. They decided to look into tribal rites of passage and ended up with a decision, an amalgamation of different rites from all over the world, with most common or interesting rituals selected to represent the practice. So there's not going to be a practice for all the different cultures. They've kind of grouped them together into semi, linked things, which is probably the best you could expect, especially on the first version of doing this. And here we go, the decision here. A youth engages in one of a duel, scarification, seclusion, hair shaving, or elemental cleansing, and they're going to go into all those in a second. And then they can gain different things, personality traits, lifestyle experience, or skill points, which is pretty cool. If they did well in this, I guess you could start with additional skill points when you take over as them. Gains either proven tribal adult or insecure tribal adult if they fail it, and it's 50 gold and 150 prestige in this example. I imagine this scales as most things do now with eras and things like that, but it's not too expensive, to be honest. 50 gold. I mean, early game, it might be a little bit much. You're probably not going to do this that often early game, but later on, when you've got gold and prestige to spare, you're probably doing this all the time, I would think. And then the possible rites, these are ones they mentioned above. Duel. Using the existing duel combat system, the child has to fight against an adult from the same culture. This is going to be really fun for those Viking playthroughs, I think. Having your child come of age and then do a fight to kind of prove he's a man, I guess, or something like that. Scarification, a facial ravaging that may result in the scarred trait. I've no idea why you would do this one. I guess maybe if you've got the scarred trait and you're kind of role-playing in the game, maybe you'd want to pass that down to your child. I'm not too sure why you would ever do this. There might be some kind of hidden benefit to it, I suppose, once we get into actually seeing how this works. Seclusion, using the travel system, the child ventures into the wild on their own and comes back wiser and more worldly. I would imagine there's a chance they could die on this, though, because it does use the travel systems. That kind of like risk-reward, but depending on what bonuses they get, again, quite interesting. It would be cool if they came back with like a big boost in the traveling traits or something like that. It would be a pretty interesting reward if you did do that. Hair shaving, similar to the halq in Islam, the child sacrifices their fair hair for adulthood. An elemental cleansing, a baptism by either fire or water. The option they do show here is the fire cleansing rituals. So for this one, this has a chance to give 300 learning lifestyle, 1 learning point, or 10% chance of becoming zealous. Also gains proven tribal adult for 10 years and scorched souls for 5 years and gets 100 prestige. That's not too bad, to be honest. The 300 learning lifestyle experience is not too bad. To be honest, all of them are okay. If you're playing a like religious playthrough or whatever, having zealous is pretty good for a lot of things. This decision is available for any landed tribal teenager or any landed tribal parent warden of a teenager. So it is possible to welcome your feudal hostage into your tribe and make them go through this ritual. So you could capture someone whilst you're raiding and then bring them into your lands and then force them to do one of these. So again, if there's somebody you particularly dislike, you could put them through the scarification, kind of cause some issues for them potentially. Or you could do the other one. Maybe you could do the one up here about going through the cleansing ritual. I wonder if there's an option. It doesn't show it here. But I wonder if you bring someone who isn't of your faith, whether it's a chance to make them zealous of your faith. That would be amazing if that is possible. It's not shown here, but it would be cool if that was a chance, because taking somebody's child and forcing them through this ritual, but then they come out of it like zealous about your faith and like, no, I'm leaving Christianity behind or something. You guys are right. I'm going to go back home and try convert other people. Something like that would be really interesting to see brought into the game. 3 of these rite types will be available. The selection determined by ruler's cultural ethos. Each has a different effect on a child's personality, their skills, and more. So it does look like they're actually going to be locked behind certain ones. You can't pick from all of them. So it'd be interesting to see which cultures get which ones. A guardian's influence on their ward's personality. Have you ever felt that being a guardian offers little impact on the personality traits of your ward? Yep, I would say for sure. Well, not anymore. The Guardian now has access to an interaction which allows them to choose one of their own personality traits and try push it onto their ward. This interaction is available for the player as well as the AI Guardian, so choose them wisely. Otherwise, your sadistic, shy, or paranoid Guardian might just pass that vile trait onto your precious genius heir. This interaction is available for Wardens, letting them influence their child age hostages. So this is what I was saying at the beginning, like, could take somebody in as a hostage. Maybe they've got really good traits, and then you can try and change them into, you know, annoying traits like shy or compassionate or something like that. And then as you can see in this screenshot, this guy's shy. He's trying to make the other person become shy, become like me, become a shy person and don't do anything interesting. And they'll gain shy, and they gain 20 opinion of you, which is interesting. So you put the bad trait onto them, but then they're like, hey, I'm like you actually, so that's cool. Thanks for making me a shy character. Which would not be good if you're playing that character. And then, as you can see here, there's another one for Callus. I approached my ward in concern. She was recently present while one of my chauviers maimed a disobedient servant. The fearful child asked me, why are people so violent? That servant, I answer, will only do the work for fear of beatings. But then in this example, the ward is actually like, no, I'm not down for that. I don't think that's a cool thing at all. And it costs you 75 prestige. You lose 20 opinion of the child. You also gain 50 stress, and the child loses opinion of you as well. So it obviously has a chance to go well, but then a chance for it to go badly. The outcome is decided by the child, so the bulk of it is left to whatever RNG gods you believe in. However, the more alike the ward is to the Guardian, the more likely the brainwashing is to succeed. So as you can see here, influence Warden's personality, and basically the things we've seen above, costing prestige, costing stress, but they will like you. And these are the three options, I guess. So shy, sadistic, eccentric for this character. 54% chance you'll convert them to shy. Oh, that's why on here there's only a bad option showing, because I guess they've done this. There was a chance for it to succeed, but then it procs the event window, and it failed to happen. And yeah, they like you a little bit. They both have learning skill, doesn't have diplomacy skill, has compatible childhood traits, so they have one that kind of fits with shy as they're growing up, so they kind of look at you and go like, yeah, I'll carry on being shy, why not? But then they get the proper version of shy when they come of age. And yeah, there we go. So as I said, let me know in the comments. There's some really cool interactions you could do with this, like stealing children from places, converting them to your ways and your traits and things like that, and then kind of sending them back, even ransoming them back, say, hey, thanks for making my child shy and maybe potentially believe in your god. Here's 50 gold. And you'd be like, thank you very much. Stole your child, got some money out of it, and made your heir worse. I wasn't expecting something quite like this, and it's interesting to see these little extra like systems they're putting in that I wouldn't even have thought of, similar to some things recently. Like, I wouldn't have ever thought about doing this, and now they've shown it. It's like, oh yeah, this makes sense. Hopefully it doesn't go out of control, as the AI can do it. We shall see. So that's it for the dev diary. Now, all of this shown today is part of the actual event pack. This isn't free DLC like the previous things were in the last dev diary. So these are just the little extras for picking up Wards and Wardens. And next week, they're going to be covering the art and animations in the event pack itself. So I guess we'll see how some of these new child animations and things like that work, and kind of how the interactions look on the map, probably in your court, I would imagine as well. On that note, we're going to leave it there for today. Hit like, as always, if you've enjoyed today's video. And if you are new here, I cover Crusader Kings, we do dev diary coverage, and then I do narrative campaigns, we cover news, discussions, all that good stuff. And then I also play other historical and management, city builder kind of things on the channel as well. We're always trying new stuff. So yeah, if that's your kind of thing, hit subscribe, but we'll leave it there for today. And I'll see you in the next one.